Pale King's researcher and helped with a lot of the research for the Void, along with other projects. But before becoming a dreamer, she was interest. She wanted to entrust her mask to a guy named Quarrel, one of her assistants. Um, we'll call him Q for now. Which is the cool guy you meet uh, Hollow Nest. Quarrel was a Monomon's assistant and entrusted her mask to her as an insurance agent to make sure that in case of anything bad happens, uh, at least there's still one more seal to that will stop the Radiance's influence. Hello! Hi, Maki! So we are going to be playing Silk Song today. Remember that time I said yesterday I didn't want to play Silk Song because everybody else is playing it? I figured I'd play it because I got too hyped up. So, um, but I figured I do something silly and I explain the plot of Hollow Knight a little bit before I start playing Silk Song. So, that essentially that's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I'm currently doing right now. I before before I even started streaming, about 45 minutes, I written like 4 pages of lore for Hollow Knight. So I'm here explaining Hollow Knight lore real quick before we start Silk Song, even though it doesn't really matter because Silk Song is its own game and we have no fucking clue if it I have no clue if it's a sequel, prequel, or a different AU that is completely different from Hollow Knight. But here, I'll give you a quick summary of what the hell's going on with this whole screen going on right now. um, so, uh, if you don't mind me explaining, you can hear all the pages turning, which is really fucking funny. Um, essentially, what's going on right now is in the beginning of Hollow Knight, before Hollow Nest was even built, we had a great influence called the Radiance. She was a great deity that had a much upbringing, had a big upbringing, and was renowned for her light and greatness. Who was also a moth, which is kind of funny. She brought everybody together and expanded the minds of the insects of this place, but in thus of her power, she created essentially a hive mind. With her, she always had an enemy. Always, with every light, there was a darkness, and that darkness being the void, right over here. The void is her ancient enemy. Has no and has no respect for her whatsoever. She is just with her influence. There was always an antagonist to her. But her power was way too strong for the void to really do much, so the void kind of went down underneath, waiting for her to be weakened, essentially. One day, an ancient being, in ancient beings during this time of no kingdom, a worm decided to die under the radiances, underneath the radiance. Uh, this worm right here died at this kingdom's edge and was resurrected into the Pale King. Uh, the Pale King, where he sat, said, "I want to make a place," and he decided to make Hallownest. So he built Hallownest from the ground up and decided that he wanted to be the one true god of Hallownest. Unfortunately, all the insects also remember the Radiance's influence, so he tried to essentially uh, take away everybody's influence of the Radiance and just revere him as the only god, which worked. Everybody revered him as the Pale King as the god, but and with thus being so, the Radiance's power diminished slowly, with only the memory of the Radiance being the only thing that everybody remembered. Uh, but that's all she needed. She had the ability to essentially go through people's dreams and try to infect them and remember the radiance. Unfortunately, this will be the downfall of it because it made the insect civilians turn into husks. Angry, mindless, aimless creatures that just roam around the Hallownest and attacking anything that comes into mind. One day, the Pale King happened to find a thing with the miners, and they found the void and its influence around. Um, he decided to experiment and find things to prevent and absolutely destroy the Radiance's influence by playing with this void, because the Pale King noticed that the void was the antithesis of the Radiance's light. So he was trying to figure out a way to make something that isn't a husk of no mind nor will. So he did a whole bunch of research and then came up with the idea of making husks out of his offspring. So he tried multiple times for like hundreds of offspring. Just the moment that they did have both mind and will, they were immediately killed and tossed aside. Until one day, he made one. He made an offspring of both no mind nor will, and we call him Hollow Knight. He did notice that he couldn't necessarily do that to trap the radiance into this, but he noticed that he can trap the radiance into this vessel to prevent the radiance's influence. But unfortunately, he still had the ability to go through people's dreams and minds. So he came up with this PowerPoint presentation and presented it to 3 of the great insects of Hallownest, which was this thing called being dreamers. We had one of the people that was ruled over the Pale King, which was Lauren, the Watcher, who saw through everything in the City of Tears. He gave his mind willingly to the Pale King the moment that he brought it up. Morimo, the Teacher, which was the researcher for the Pale King of Hallownest and helped with a lot of the experiments for the Void, to provide insurance as well. Moramon gave Coral her mask to make sure that if the Radiance was breaking out and there was only 2 seals, both seals were destroyed, that Coral had her mask to prevent the last seal from breaking. And we had Hurin, the Beast, what she looks like mostly. Uh, I know she had 6 eyes and thick. She was the queen of Deep Nest. Her partner died before she had an heir, so when Pale King, the Pale King requested her to be a dreamer, she was like, "Sure, but only if I get an heir from you." So the heir of Deep Nest and Marumon's no, not Marumon, sorry, Heron the beast, her offspring with the Pale King is Hornet. This is Hornet. And so with the three dreamers, oh, I forgot to write her name, Aran. With the three dreamers, all set in stone, they trapped the Radiance in. Wait, there we go. They trapped the Radiance in the in the Hollow Knight. Oh, hold up. There we go. They trapped them in the Hollow Knight, which thus they trapped in a thing called the Black Egg. What the fuck? Oh, the side of my. In a thing called what they made the Black Egg. And then went in, and then the Dreamers sealed him away. Oh, hold up. My tablet is not like me going over here. There we go. The Dreamers then sealed their souls away and their masks into this Black Egg, thus preventing the influence of the Radiance of Hallownest. Years pass. Alright, and then now we're on part 2. Years pass. This wasn't going to be a quicken because I know how to sum this up pretty quick. And unfortunately, the Radiance's influence started to leak out of the Black Egg. There we go. There you go. She's angry. And our character, the knight, was thus summoned because he felt that there was an evil presence going around and wanted to prevent this thing from happening. So he went around. He ran around Hallownest to prevent the Radiance from breaking out of the Black Egg. We meet Quarrel, which was the teacher's assistant. We had Quarrel. He met Hornet. He met Shop. And then, along with other people, he had the ability to wield. Over time, he learned that he had the ability to wield the Dream Nail, which was a thing that had the ability to essentially